This month's EDC is all based around some items that have been minimized, be the multi-tool being very small or other rather compact items. Not all of them are new, some are returning guests, but without further ado, here is my everyday carry of April 2025. Alright, let's start with the bag that carries most of the EDC of this month. This is the AER City Sling 3 of the AER Ultra collection. You maybe have seen the unboxing and first impressions. If you didn't, check it out in the info tab above. The bag is made out of a material that I currently forgot, but in essence it's just like the name implies, a bag that is ultra light. And I can definitely say that this bag is ultra light, or at least lighter than the regular first versions. And I already made a couple of reviews and videos about that bag, so definitely check out those videos as well. Like I said in my first impressions, I really like that the bags from AER are very easy recommendations for most people. And this holds true with this bag as well. It is very well made, has very good build quality and good choices of materials. And more importantly, since this is the version 3, it has a couple of new features that I really like. For example, there is a lashing point here on the strap, which I use to carry my new Fuji XM5 camera that I use to document my life basically and take some stills and shoot photos. By the way, check out my new Instagram, you know the Bow 365, where I basically try to take some stills every single day. That camera is fairly small and I attach it to a carabiner onto this lashing point. That is definitely a feature that I really like on this sling bag and that I wish more sling bags had. Overall, the bag is basically pretty similar to the first and to the second version that I reviewed. All of the layout, this longish layout, is basically the same. You have a couple of more slots to which I will get in a second, but I just want to mention another thing that I didn't really care for in the beginning. While the choice of materials, and specifically the AquaGuard zipper, the YKK AquaGuard zipper, are really good, they are very stiff to operate. They need some breaking in, and I feel like they have broken in, but compared to my Evergood's CAS2, which has in air quotes regular YKK zippers, not with the AquaGuard feature, it is very difficult to open and close this bag with one single hand. And as I said, the zipper have broken in a little bit, but still it is very cumbersome to open and close the zipper with just one hand. Okay, before we talk about what's inside this sling bag, let's talk about what's outside on the sling bag. As I mentioned previously, one of the new features of this City Sling 3 is this little attachment point on the strap itself. I attached an S-binder but also a Grimlock. Actually, before I used only the Grimlock, and now just for convenience sake I also attached an S-binder. Obviously I would only need to attach one of the two, but I don't know, I had the Grimlock available, so I kept it on there and then attached the S-binder. On this S-binder that is on the attachment loop of the sling bag, I have my new camera. This is the Fuji XM5 with the kit lens, that is the 15 to 45 millimeter lens. And again, all of this is all about minimizing some of the items in this everyday carry. And some of you might know that I film, or I have been filming, a lot of my videos with the Blackmagic BMP-CC 4K cinema camera, which is a huge camera rig, way too big. And then I got the Pocket 3, but I also wanted something that is hybrid, that can film and that can shoot stills. Moreover, before this, I had the Lumix GX85, a micro four thirds camera, a very capable camera, but I wanted something with a bigger sensor. This has an APS-C sensor and that can give me good colors without having to do much editing. I used to have many years ago the Fuji E3 and the X100S. And also, many of you probably don't know that camera, but there was a Fuji S5 Pro, which was based on the Nikon D D200 body, an SLR camera. Many people use mirrorless nowadays, so I assume some of you don't know what an SLR camera is, but I am very familiar with Fuji, so I really wanted something with Fuji colors, but in a very small form factor that I can carry around all of the time, that will give me some good video quality, but predominantly give me good stills. And again, many years ago, I was really into stills photography. I'm not that great, so I want to practice some more stills photography. For that, I created this new Instagram account. You know the both 365. Maybe you want to follow, where I post some stills that I edited and then also show you the straight out of camera JPEGs with the Fujifilm recipes. And that's actually one of the benefits of this camera. Not only is it small and very capable in terms of video quality, which shoots 6K open gate footage with 10-bit log footage, which yields into very good image quality, but also it gives you Fuji recipes that simulate analog film, and you can tinker around with a lot of settings to create your own so-called Fuji recipes that will give you straight out of camera JPEGs without the need of doing a lot of post-processing. And I really like all of the images that you can create with this small little camera that you can bring almost anywhere. There are a couple of downsides. Let's cover those first. First and foremost, this is a very small camera that doesn't give you a lot of grip. I have small hands, still it needs a couple of extras. So I 3D printed a thumb grip here to give me a little bit of more grip. There is something from Small Rig which you can attach here to give you even more grip on the body itself. But for me, it was really important to keep this as low key and as lightweight as possible to, not be lazy, because I'm always a little bit lazy. If something is too heavy, too bulky, I tend to leave it at home. So I don't want to add this extra grip. That is why I just printed out thumb grip. Moreover, I added this little paracord to give me some more ease of mind, so I can kind of put my hands in this, and then if I would kind of drop it, it would be protected. This also gives me the option to attach this to the S-Biner on this strap. I also added a small little keyring, so it will be a little bit better protected or a little bit more stable on this S-Biner. Next up, while the Fuji film recipes are really good to give you very good straight out of camera JPEGs, there are a lot of settings. You have this app or this website that is called Fujifilm Weekly, which gives you a lot of presets and tips and tricks with all of the Fuji recipes. But in the beginning, it will be very overwhelming to kind of decide which setting or which recipe you want to dial into this camera. And that is something that you really need to keep in mind. In the beginning, you will need maybe a week just to find the setting that you actually like. But once you found it, this camera will give you amazing stills and also give you amazing video footage. More importantly, this is targeted towards a more casual demographic, I would say. That is why there is no viewfinder. Personally, I really don't mind, because this will let me blend in a little bit more instead of having this on your face and making you appear as you are a professional photographer. You can actually casually just shoot some stills from the hip basically without kind of sticking out like a Thor thumb, or is that the right word? Thor thumb, yeah. So I really like this camera. This is only made out of plastic. It's not weather sealed, but the pricing is very competitive. It's still expensive. It is 990 euros, yeah, with the lens. So still a lot of money, but comparatively to what it can do and to the competition, I believe this is a very budget-friendly camera to get you started into content creation and into stills photography. I really love this camera, and I have this with me every single day since I bought this, because I can attach it to the sling bag, because it is so small and lightweight that I can always carry it with me to do some stills. Now let's get into the bag, and I will show you the next camera that I also always carry with me. Okay, before we go into the main compartment with the second camera that I always carry with me and the main items that are always inside this main compartment, let's talk about the other two slots that are also on this bag. The first slot is in the front that has a key leash and is predominantly used for a key. For example, I use my Orbit key, but that is not inside that slot. Inside this slot, I have fresh doggy bags when I am walking my dog. With the City Sling 3, I actually store my Orbit key inside my jacket's pocket because that is actually one of the downsides of this bag. This bag feels much smaller or much tighter than the Evergood's CAS2 that I have been using previously. And I actually noticed that it is fairly difficult to put most of the items that are usually put inside the sling bag into this City Sling 3. But I will get to that in just a second. Speaking of walking my dog, another piece of item in my everyday carry that is very essential when I'm walking my dog at night. It's not that dark at the moment, but I need this item almost every single day. And that also has the feature of being minimized, is the Wuben G2 Flashlight. I predominantly use a flashlight when I'm walking my dog at night to kind of find my way around the walk, because not all of the people actually pick up the poo from the ground. So having a flashlight to illuminate where I'm walking is very helpful. And obviously it is very helpful to pick up after my dog with a flashlight and not just with the flashlight on my phone. That is obviously very expensive and that I don't want to drop. I really like about this new Wuben G2 is it is tiny. This one is about the size and the thickness of lighters that have gasoline in them. So it is very small, and I really like that Wuben created a flashlight that is this tiny and this compact. And although this flashlight is very small and lightweight, the output is very bright, as you can see in the B-roll of this video. I do like that you have a little rotary dial to adjust the brightness, but also when you push down the on and off switch, you can actually switch to RGB mode and have multiple different RGB lights, which does come in handy quite a bit. And speaking of rotary dial, you can actually twist the top of the bulb part, or the part where the light comes out. You can actually twist that by about 180 degrees. So you can also, instead of just pointing it in this direction, you can actually put it onto a strap or whatever, and then use it, for example, as a bike light if you switch it to RGB mode and then to red. Also, to kind of attach it to some things, you have this clip that is also able to rotate and giving you a couple of options how you want to attach it to a backpack, for example. You can charge it with USB-C, and granted, while the capacity of the battery is much smaller than other flashlights, because obviously it is fairly small, I have to say that the battery holds up quite a long time, and I'm very impressed by the longevity of one full charge, to be quite honest. I didn't measure it exactly, but I do like that I can pretty much rely on it for a couple of walks at night. The button lock is actually also the cover of the USB-C port, which you can use to charge the light. So overall, I really like this Wuben G2 flashlight. That is a very minimized version of the flashlights that I usually have. And being this like rectangular and flat makes it very easy to pack inside any sling bag. By the way, all of the items that I mentioned in this video are linked below. Those are affiliate links. With those you won't pay more, but you will support the channel with a small kickback of that sale. And if you do so, thank you very much. Alright, let's talk about what's inside the main compartment and my second camera that I always carry with me and that has been kind of made even smaller than it already is. So inside this main compartment, I obviously have always my phone with me, the Samsung Fold 5, which is a very chunky phone because this is a folding phone. I've talked a lot about this phone. This has been my MVP. I'm not going to talk about this again, but I just want to say I can highly recommend this phone if you want something different, a different form factor. If you don't want to carry a tablet with you in addition to a phone, which makes this the perfect phone for traveling. I can highly recommend this. Not going to talk about this too much, but Samsung Fold 5. Big phone, which is the reason why I had to kind of change this second camera, because as mentioned previously, while you can fit a lot of items into this City Sling 3, it is a longish form factor and everything that you pack inside feels a little bit more squished together, in comparison at least to the Evergood's Civic Access Sling 2. And although both of them have the same capacity on paper, which is 2 liters, the City Sling 3 feels, as I said, a little bit more cramped and squished together. So when I packed the Samsung Fold 5 in here, I noticed that it does get very cramped when I pack this secondary camera inside, which is the DJI Pocket 3. This camera has been the MVP of my channel for the last 2 years, I believe. Or 1 year? Well, at least 1.5. I film all of my videos predominantly with this camera now, and usually I pack this small little tripod and the DJI Pocket 3. But when you pack this and this over on top each other and then you put the Samsung Fold 5 on top here, they don't fit inside the City Sling 3. So I had to make a small little compromise to actually fit everything into this sling bag. Again, in the Evergood's CAS2, I was able to fit everything inside and also this small little tripod. Now, I'm kind of wondering, is the City Sling 3 actually 2 liters or smaller? Or is the Evergood's CAS 2 liter actually bigger than 2 liters? Yeah, I'm not really sure. I would actually say this is 2 liters and the Evergood's might be 2.5 liters. But I'm not really sure. Maybe it's all due to the way this is shaped. This, as I said, is longish, and the CAS2 has a little bit more of a belly and a little bit more give due to the fabric that the CAS2 is using, and there is a little bit more flexibility. This fabric doesn't allow that much flexibility. So again, I was not able to fit the small little tripod on the DJI Pocket 3, which brings me to, again, something that has been minimized. This is the mini tripod from Ulanzi. I hope I pronounced it correctly. I'm not sure if it's Ulanzi or Ulanzi. This is the mini tripod and the small attachment adapter PK11. Not sure what this mini tripod is called, but as you can see here, just in comparison, these two tripods differ quite a lot. Because this is so small, I can always keep it on the DJI Pocket and have a small little tripod on here that helps me to fit the DJI Pocket 3 with its case and the Samsung Fold 5 with me all of the time inside the City Sling. This mini tripod is incredibly well made. This is all, I believe this is aluminum, so it has some heft to it. It gives the whole camera some more weight, which helps to kind of stabilize the camera a little bit better. So the build quality of this is amazing. These are two separate pieces that you need to buy to achieve this small little mini tripod. That being said, while the build quality is great, while the design is great, because you only need to put it on a table or on a flat surface and then it will stand up on itself instead of having to spread out these legs of the tripod. It does it all by itself. That being said, the surface area of this tripod is very small, so there is the risk of the DJI Pocket falling over. So this is just for quickly deploying a tripod, maybe talking to the camera whilst you're very near to it. So I wouldn't recommend to put it on to the ground and then walk away. I would kind of fear that this could topple over. It wouldn't topple over only by force, but still, it's not as safe as the tripod from DJI because they are much longer, the legs, and therefore have much more area to kind of stand and to help the DJI Pocket not fall over. However, I think this is a really good alternative to the standard DJI tripod, and because this is so small, it makes the whole camera be much more packable and much smaller to fit inside this City Sling 3. And just like on the Fold 5, I've talked so much about this DJI Pocket 3, and most of the shots that you have seen inside this video have been shot on the DJI Pocket 3, which hopefully shows you how capable this camera is. So I'm not going to talk too much about this camera now. But again, this goes into the main compartment of the City Sling 3, and then the Samsung Fold 5 goes on top of it and fits very snugly inside the City Sling 3. Again, I'm kind of confused about that the capacity of this sling bag inside the main compartment is much tighter than on the Evergoods CAS2. Not sure which one of the two is true to size, or which one might be smaller than 2 liters or might be bigger than 2 liters. Moreover, inside this main compartment you have a couple of small little slots which I either use for lip balm or hand lotion. Despite it already being spring, it is really cold here in Hamburg, so my skin is very dry, and as you can tell from the video, I always still wear my thick winter coat and beanie because it is cold. Besides that, I don't put anything into these slots because it is so cramped and it is already so full inside this bag. Obviously, if you wouldn't carry a DJI Pocket 3 or a big phone like the Fold 5, then you could fit much more items into this, but I did not utilize any of these extra slots. However, in the bag, in this next and last slot, I carry my wallet, which is the Extra wallet in this forged carbon. I really like this because it protects my cards, but also is fairly slim and compact to not get in my way that much. And to kind of fill out that space inside this third pocket, because this is almost the same thickness of the wallet. This is a small little battery bank that is unfortunately not available anymore, but this charges also my Samsung smartwatch and my phone in a pinch. Very small, lightweight, 4000 milliampere hours capacity, and because this has almost the same thickness as the Extra wallet, if you put them next to each other in this slot, it basically doesn't create a small little gap step, because if you had 2 items in there or just 1 item, then it would be just this one little thick item and then kind of create this step, an empty space. So now these two being the same thickness and sticking into this compartment right next to it, it creates basically one flat surface inside this pocket. So yeah, those were the items that I carry inside the City Sling 3. So in summary, I just want to add about the City Sling 3. I really like the design, the look, the build quality, the choices of materials of this sling bag, and especially I like the addition of this attachment loop on the strap itself. However, from a usability standpoint and my personal loadout, as I said, Pocket 3, very thick phone, this being packed this tightly makes it sometimes very difficult to operate the zipper, which is an AquaGuard YKK zipper, so a very high quality zipper. This has now been broken in to a degree that it is easier to operate with just one hand, opening and closing it. Still, it isn't as comfortable or as non-cumbersome to use for me, because I fill it up to the brim and then the zipper sometimes gets stuck a little bit and I have a little bit difficulties to close it properly with one hand. Not a big deal if you don't load it up that much, but for me personally, this is something where I will say I will go back to the Evergoods Civic Access 2 sling bag. But the form factor being this longish makes it very comfortable to carry because it doesn't get in your way. It is very streamlined, it is very compact, and therefore you don't notice it when you're carrying it around. Especially I also have the Fuji XM5 hanging here on the side, so it actually was very comfortable to carry around and you almost don't notice the bag.
But opening and closing it, getting your phone out, getting the Pocket 3 out was cumbersome. And I have to admit, that is the reason why I will go back to the Civic Access Sling. But other than that, I really like this bag. Not for me, not for my use case, but I think you should check it out if you want a lightweight and compact sling bag. Okay, now since we covered the bag that carries most of the everyday carry of this month, let's go with the first item that actually is the item that has been minimized, which is the Gerber Dime. This multi-tool is tiny. It is really small, and I have been hearing a lot of good but also some bad stuff about this multi-tool, and I also seen some negative reviews on Amazon about this multi-tool, but I really wanted to check this out for the pure reason that this is one of the smallest multi-tools that actually has some pliers in them. Do I need pliers most of the time? No, I don't. But there have been a couple of times where I thought, oh, some pliers would be great, because sometimes there are areas where you need to grab maybe a nut to screw down something. And for those reasons, this is a really cool multi-tool. But besides that, there are so many very useful tools in here that my regular Swiss Army knife that I usually carry, my Super Tinker, also have, and this has it in a much smaller form factor but with some pliers. So what it has is obviously the regular blade that, from what I understand, is somewhat street legal because A, it is two-hand opening, it is friction lock, I believe that is the correct word, friction lock, and it is fairly small. So I do believe, or I'm not 100% sure, don't quote me on that, but I do believe this would be somewhat street legal. Moreover, what I really like is there is a package opener here as well, because honestly, I don't want to kind of mess up the main blade with all of the glue residue when opening up boxes. So having a tool that is specifically designed for opening boxes comes in really handy, because if this gunks up, it doesn't really matter, right? You also have some regular scissors, and many people ask why you use scissors, why don't you just use the blade? Because sometimes there are delicate areas where you kind of want some very precise cutting. For example, if you have a loose thread on a dress shirt or whatever, then it is much easier to use scissors to kind of cut that loose thread off your shirt. You have regular flathead screwdriver, then a nail file. I never use them because I don't like the feeling of that, but there's also a smaller flathead tip. You don't have a Phillips screwdriver, which is kind of unfortunate, but you could use that smaller flathead to somewhat try to loosen a Phillips screw head. I wouldn't do that because you will mess up that thread of the Phillips head, but it would be a possibility. And you have a bottle opener on this side, and you have some tweezers, metal tweezers in here as well. So a very good multi-tool that is very small and handy. Again, I'm not really sure of the durability because I've seen some Amazon reviews that said the pliers have broken, but I have to see in long term. For now, this is a very cool multi-tool that I have been carrying around on the little lanyard with the carabiner. And yeah, from my perspective, the usability is amazing, and I can highly recommend the Gerber Dime for now. Again, not sure about the durability yet, but in terms of usability and in terms of size, this is amazing.
So the next item in my everyday carry are obviously some earbuds. Some of you who watch my videos might know that for some reason that I cannot explain, if I use, for example, Samsung earbuds or Apple AirPods, where the Bluetooth transmitter is very close to my ear canal, for some reason I get some headaches or some discomfort in my head. I get a little bit nauseated. I have no idea why that is, which is the reason why I have been using the Biodynamics Bluebird ANC, where the transmitter is around my neck. So I was very curious about these earbuds, the Acefast Acefit Air, if I'm not completely mistaken about the naming of these earphones. These are some earbuds that go around your ear, and have like this open design, which make them perfect for situations like this where I'm walking my dog and I want to be aware of my surroundings. I usually only wear one earbud in one ear anyways, but this open design is very helpful to kind of know what's going on around you. And I can tell you that I do not get any discomfort or headache due to the Bluetooth transmitter. I guess it's a little bit further away from my ear canal. Again, I have no idea why this happens with Samsung earbuds or Apple AirPods, but with these I do not get any headaches or any discomfort when wearing these. Again, the open design of the speakers in the earbuds make it very easy to notice what is happening around me, and I can say that the quality of the sound is really good. The downside of this open ear design, I'm not really sure if it's actually called open ear design, is that it loops around your ear, and if you are wearing glasses like I do, the glasses somewhat get in your way of these earbuds, and it is somewhat uncomfortable. It isn't really uncomfortable, but you do feel that your glasses and these earbuds kind of get into each other's way. And you kind of need to somewhat wiggle around your glasses when you want to get these onto your ears. What I do is I try to move it on top of my ears and then on top of my glasses. Another downside with this is, and this is something that is really annoying, it is not necessarily just these headphones, but most items with touch interfaces. It is so annoying that I actually switched it off, because the whole area of this front part is a touch interface. So when you put it onto your ears, there is a high likeliness that you accidentally touch this. And if you set it up in the standard mode, one touch means start playback or stop playback. Or if you double click, it is, if I'm not mistaken, next track forward or something like that. So it happened multiple times that I put this onto my ear, accidentally clicked on the touch interface and either stopped the playback, or more importantly, if you're listening to an audiobook, you accidentally moved forward 10 seconds or moved backwards 10 seconds. And that is so annoying. I did not like that at all. It is way too sensitive. But to be fair, this is with most touch interfaces, and I really dislike touch interfaces on headphones. For me personally, they rarely work reliably, especially if you are in winter or if it's raining outside. Touch interfaces on headphones do not work for me at all. You can solve this issue of this being too sensitive by installing the app. There you can kind of configure what kind of button presses you want to be active. What I did now is I switched everything off, so you have the option for one click, double click, triple click, and click and hold. So what I did is one click and double click, I switched that off completely. I switched off the volume interface, and the only thing that I kept on is triple click, and that is now my play pause button. But if I had one click or double click, I always kind of accidentally switched off the music or fast forwarded in the track, and I really didn't like that. So that is a really big negative for me, but fortunately, if you install the app, you can deactivate those. And as I said, to be fair, I really dislike headphones with touch interfaces. They just don't work for me. And last but not least, let's talk a little bit about the overall sound quality and usability of these headphones. So the sound quality, despite this being open ear, I really enjoy the sound quality. It is very full, despite the fact that it's basically just a tiny speaker that is sitting not in your ear, but right in front of the ear somewhat. It really sounds good. I was actually very surprised. And as I said, when I was walking my dog, it is a security benefit to actually be able to hear what's around you. And at first I thought, oh, do people hear what's coming out of these earbuds? And I can say it's not that noticeable. Maybe if you have really good ears, or if you are someone who is listening to music really loud, then people around you can hear it. But I try to listen to it in a moderately volume, and therefore I still can hear everything that is going on around me whilst listening to my audiobook or to music. That being said, I always only kept one earbud in my ear when I'm walking my dog, and that's just a habit of mine. And with that in mind,
I only charged these headphones once. They always come into this charging case, which you can see already is pretty scuffed up. I wanted some white ones because if this drops to the ground, if this would be black, I would have had a hard time finding it. So I chose the white ones. And the earbuds get charged up when you put this into the case. And with that in mind, since the start of using this, there wasn't the need to recharge this once. So this is really good. But again, this is already scuffed up. If you have the white version and you always keep that in your pocket or in your sling bag, this will get a bit messy and a bit dirty, but I don't mind. So to summarize, sound quality great. I do not get any head discomfort with the Bluetooth of this. The open ear design is great when you're walking your dog, but the touch sensitivity is way too sensitive. I would recommend to switch it off because you will accidentally get in touch with the touch area when you're putting the headphones on. If you wear glasses, not 100% sure if this is really for you. You can wear it with glasses. It isn't that uncomfortable, but you will notice it on your ears when you have your glasses on. And yeah, those were the Acefast Acefit Air headphones or earbuds. Okay, that was my everyday carry of April 2025. This was a very long video and I would love to know from you, do you enjoy these long videos? I mean, there are chapter markers all over the place, but yeah, these videos being almost 30 minutes long, is that something that you enjoy? Do you actually watch it through completely, or do you just jump around the video to watch the segment or the item that is interesting you? Please let me know in the comment section below. And I also would love to know from you, what is your current everyday carry? Yeah, let me know in the comment section below, and don't forget, all of the items are linked below. Those are affiliate links. With those you won't pay more, but you will support this channel with a small kickback of that sale. And if you do so, thank you very much. And if you want to see my last everyday carry video, watch the video up here. And YouTube thinks that you like the video down here. And don't forget to subscribe by clicking the button up here. I see you in the next video. Thank you very much.